Hey, I'm Blair Pippin with Florida Abolitionists, and welcome to our Abolitionist Live video. It's just me, your host this week. Tomas Lars is doing some other things, but today we wanted to bring you a message about prevention. You see, human trafficking it's a huge issue, and our agency, we will continue to help victims as long as they continue to need our help. We are there for them. But the real goal is to stop human trafficking completely, and that means we have to prevent it so that it doesn't happen at all, and stop it before it starts. And so how do we do that? Well, one of the things is to educate the community, and that's one of the reasons we're doing these Abolitionist Live videos, so that we can educate you to see the signs and be able to teach your kids how to stay safe, things like that. And as we look at really the landscape of human trafficking and the places where victims might come into contact with the community, we really want to make sure that we're educating all the right people and being strategic in that. And one of those areas is our hospitality industry. As we have assisted hundreds of victims, almost all of them at some point had a touch point with the hospitality industry. They ate at restaurants, or many of them, the sex trafficking victims, were trafficked in our hotels and motels. And as you know, Orlando, where we are, is one of the largest tourist cities in the world. So I don't know how many hotels, there's thousands and thousands of hotel rooms right here in our city. And so there's plenty of places where traffickers can hide, they can hide their victims. And so we want to make sure that those hotels and those employees in hotels know how to spot human trafficking. And so we've been out and we've done trainings for staff, for managers, and we want to continue to do that. In fact, I was just on the phone today with a manager of a hotel who received some of our training. And after the training, she went back and talked with some of her staff, and they actually identified a trafficking situation that was happening right there in their hotel. And a few of the red flags that she noticed, one was that the women were often dressed very provocatively. They acted a little bit odd in their demeanor. Another thing, they would show up to breakfast, usually dazed and kind of out of it. And so maybe there was drug use going on there. Maybe they didn't get much sleep that night. And so the staff began to talk about it. They realized something wasn't normal with these women. They weren't the typical tourists that came through their hotel on a regular basis. But the thing that really tipped her off that she needed to call law enforcement was it was an extended stay place, and every time they would extend their stay a little bit longer and a little bit longer, but they always pay in cash. And usually it was the girls that were there in the hotel room, but a man was the one who was coming and paying, and it was actually in his name or a man's name. It was probably not his actual name, as we could imagine. And so she called law enforcement, and she did something. And so that's the thing that any hotel can do, but you have to recognize those signs, and you have to be willing to make the call. And so if you are in the hospitality industry, or if you know anyone in the hospitality industry, I would highly encourage you to take that step. Talk with your managers, talk with your staff about the issue of human trafficking. We can come out and provide training for you, in-depth training. This is just a brief overview of some of the things that you can look for, things that might be off. But that manager that I spoke to today also said, she said, when you've been in the industry long enough, you know when something is off. You can tell if somebody isn't like the typical tourists or the people that typically come to your establishment. And so that's when it's time to make a call. And our local law enforcement has been trained in human trafficking. So you can call 911, you can call our local law enforcement. But we'd also encourage you to call the National Human Trafficking Hotline, because they can connect you with the investigators that are here in our city specifically looking into human trafficking cases. And that phone number is 888-373-7888. It's an anonymous call, and so you don't have to worry about it even being tracked to you if you're afraid of that. but we encourage you to make that call. You would rather make a call and have it not be anything than not make the call and have it been something terrible going on right there in your establishment. So we would love to come and train your staff. Reach out to us. Just visit our website. There's our phone number's on there. Our email is on there. You can contact us, even Facebook us. You can just send us a message, and we would be glad to come to your hotel and give you a lot more training about what to look for and how to stop human trafficking from occurring right there in your business. And so businesses, you can all make a huge difference by educating your staff, your employees. It doesn't have to be just hotels and motels. Trafficking victims have to eat. Restaurants need to know about this. Really any business where you're interacting with people in the public, you could come across victims. Even if you're not at work, you can be driving and be at a mall or be somewhere where you could see something. And we say all the time, if you see something, say something. Make that call to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Put that number in your phone so you've got it saved. You don't have to remember it. You don't have to memorize it. And we would just encourage you to make that call. And please, if you know anybody in the hospitality industry, share this video with them. We would love to connect with them and connect with you about this issue. And so that's it for this episode of Abolitionists Live. But one other thing I want to mention to you tonight, if you live in the Oviedo area of Orlando, we have a special training. It's going to be about an hour and a half from 6:30 to 8:30. Just an overview about what is human trafficking and how you can get involved in stopping it right here in our community. We realize there's a lot of people out in Oviedo that were interested, and so we put together this training especially for you. And so we would love to have you come out. It's at 6:30 at Duo 58 Cafe. You can just Google Duo 58 Cafe, and it's off of Mitchell Hammock Road, I believe. And so it starts at 6:30. You don't have to register or anything. Just come on out. We would love to see you there. And now that's it for Abolitionists Live, and we'll see you again soon.